Hello and welcome to Diamond Bridges. I'm your host, Irene Diamond. Now is the time for people of all generations to wake up to their true sense of purpose, to embrace their freedom, and to build bridges between our disjointed collective. Join me today as I feature two guests of the Gen X and Millennial generations, contrasting their stories and talents in the diamond and fine jewelry industry. Have you ever wondered where those diamonds and gems in your rings and necklaces come from and who crafted them to become the best stories of your life? The guests I've invited to talk with me today are trusted jewelry experts who deal with top-of-the-line gemstones. My millennial guest is a gemologist who considers herself a liaison for luxury goods. Based in New York City, she manages productions in the diamond industry. Please welcome Julia Clark. My second guest is owner of a boutique jewelry business who features various jewelry products with love and a global vision. Please welcome Georgia Alexandra.
A pleasure to be here.
There's something very real about owning a piece of jewelry from the moment you lay your eyes and hands on it. It's not a house or a plot of land with a view. It's a product of the earth. Julia, what's it like handling some of those stones that come across your showcase?
Sometimes it can be kind of surreal, depending on the type of piece that you're handling. Every once in a while, you come across something that is a rare item that you don't get to see every day, like maybe a 25 carat or a rough diamond or some loose pink melly.
Or some loose what?
Loose pink melly. Every time I get natural colored diamonds, I always get really excited.
Yeah, tell us a little more about that.
Their natural colored diamonds happen from different chemical elements in its growth process. So like for a yellow diamond, it's a little extra nitrogen as it's growing that could turn it yellow or brown, or boron for a blue diamond. Diamonds can come in all different colors of the rainbow, just like a sapphire. And it's really just truly a natural phenomenon when it happens outside of a laboratory.
So I've always wondered, like, are the canary diamonds and the pink diamonds, are they fake? Like, do they inject those diamonds with color? Like, where does the color actually come from?
They can, especially in lab-grown diamonds, they can synthesize the process that the earth does to give it a little extra color. A colored diamond has an extra chemical element in it than like a natural white diamond. So for example, a yellow diamond or a brown diamond would have extra nitrogen, or a blue diamond would have boron, or sometimes green could be irradiated by earth.
So is that considered a natural process then, or a chemically induced one that's not natural?
Because with a natural diamond, it happens within the earth that extra element is able to seep in. But also in a lab-grown diamond process, they can add that to the growth process to change the color. So there are a lot of like blue and yellow treated diamonds that are widely available. They also do pink, A lot as well.
So some can be naturally produced by the earth and have
Mhm.
those colors, and some can be grown in a lab, still using natural products and chemicals or minerals from the earth.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's,
So then
it's
So
about
authentic. Georgia, would you consider both of them authentic?
they're both. I think that the essence of a lab grown diamond lies elsewhere. The lab grown diamonds are marketed and promoted for supposedly their greater sustainability, because we're not mining the earth, we're not drilling, we're not depleting the earth of its natural resources. But in many cases, the transparency is not quite there, stating that in order to create a man-made lab-grown stone, diamond, etc., there's a tremendous amount of energy required. And so it sort of weighs itself out many times. So my recommendation to a consumer would be, please do your research in advance. Of course, you can get a much larger diamond for a similar price to a smaller natural one when you go for lab grown. But if the valuation of that stone in the long term, if you're looking for an investment, it will not last, because every year the technology gets better and better. So we're able as mankind to grow larger diamonds in the laboratory. And so they don't hold the same value as a natural diamond. Also, what's very important to me and the story of my clients and collectors is the origin story of where a stone comes from, and how someone has mined the earth in a very as a sustainable, ethical, and responsible way as possible. And this is why we try to collaborate with source our stones and collaborate with partners that have all those elements in check and place. So it's more about the origin story, rather than it's like going for fast food versus for organic farm to table is a comparison maybe.
Uh-huh. And so sustainability is at the heart of your jewelry business. Can you explain to our viewing audience what sustainability means in the jewelry industry?
A broad term, if we like to take it in the jewelry industry, but I'll go in a little more detail about what it means to me as a creator and to our collectors and our collaborators. And sustainability can mean that if you're mining in a certain area, you make sure that the caribou are unharmed, or the elephants or the rhinos or whichever animal species is in that area are taken care of. That if you uproot trees, that you'll replace them, that you will pay fair wages to the miners, you'll take care of their working conditions, that you may bring in drinking water and provide schooling for their families. So sustainability is very much a mindset that touches upon a number of points.
Mm-hmm.
As a business owner who started this really beautiful, heartfelt business from when my son was born, which was the inspiration 13 years ago yesterday. It was his birthday yesterday. I've
Happy
really,
birthday.
thank you. I've really touched upon many areas of it. So from the sourcing of the stones to try and be as close as possible to the mines. We've recently started collaborating and partnering with Canadian mines, where the stones can be government certified, and we know that they're going from the mine to the cutter to us, to our collectors, versus to 5 different continents and countries and various hundreds of hands before they get to us. So the sourcing is very important. The design process. So I design the pieces. Sometimes I design them myself, and sometimes in partnership with our collectors. We love to do custom pieces and custom work. And you can touch upon all the other things: the marketing, the outsourcing, the sales. I've touched upon all of the areas within that a business can have. So it's really wonderful to be able to know that when you come to work with us, that it's all in-house, that will do a full circle creation with you.
Mm-hmm. And then, Julia, how does that compare with the final products? Because I know that you see from start to finish, right? The production of different pieces.
So whenever I'm working in a production management position, it's very similar, except a lot of times we will outsource. So there are certain companies in certain continents that will make a bracelet or a ring, or they do the earrings the best. And then we bring them in and we find the person to source the stones from, usually locally in New York. For the gemstones or the diamonds, they're usually different people. And then we send it to the jeweler and they set the stones. We send it to someone else, they polish the piece, and someone else will clean up the piece and get it ready for the showcase. And then it goes back to the office. We double check everything and make sure everything is tight, secure, and ready to be seen by clientele.
Let's take this to the dining room. Cheers. This is fun. People of all race, ethnic, economic background, ethnicity, gender, religion want to know that the value of what they're paying for is going to last. Georgia, is the purchase of a luxury diamond a risk?
Never. So long as it comes from the heart, and this has nothing to do with finances. So I like to stress that, but I would not say it's a risk. It's an investment in love. It's an investment in people. There are a number of people who have given their heart and soul and sweat and all of that to bring you that diamond. So
wow, that is a loaded answer. Wow, I love that answer. It was not what I was expecting, but I'm just wondering how, if this has changed, this value, or if this is the same, if it's been always been this way.
well, diamonds are an investment. They cannot be a risk because they will appreciate, same as gold. So if we're looking at it strategically in that form, then it's an investment. But when you also add in the heart elements, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow, I love that. So your first answer is that it's an investment in the heart, which is love, and it's an investment in people, the people that produce it,
yes,
people that are the recipient of that diamond. Yeah. And then there's also the aspect of wealth management and the passing down of that piece of investment, right? Because
I
it's
think that also ties into the sentimentality value. So when you invest in a diamond and you give it to someone that you love, there's a lot of feeling, there's a lot of story behind it. And then eventually that diamond gets passed to someone else in the family, and it still holds that initial sentimental value, but then it's also tied to the memory of that person as well. So sometimes I think the sentimental value grows with the piece.
It's like a legacy in a way.
Yes. So it still stays true to your initial answer to that question as an investment, because it still holds its value, but it's also growing in its heart value and investment in the people. Wow, I love that. Really great. So, Julia, what are some of the things that you do to help people feel more comfortable when they're making this type of purchase?
When I do custom engagement rings, I like to sit down with the client and realistically talk about their budget, because sometimes they might have bigger dreams than their budget. I like to talk to them about how to stretch their budget. Whereas sacrificing on color versus clarity or cut versus size, so on and so forth. And I try to make the environment knowledgeable and in turn comforting, because then they know that they're in good hands and I can kind of help them that way.
So you like to give them the options. Like sometimes they might
Yeah,
want to choose one or the other after you've explained the various options.
yeah, because at the end of the day, sometimes people want size, sometimes people want what looks good on paper and to their insurance companies. And sometimes people go specifically for design or like a specific shape that they want. So you have to, in order to create a comfortable environment, you have to listen to what the client is telling you and what they want from you.
And how often do people really listen to your advice?
Well, almost every time, because
Right?
it usually benefits, right? So they'll sit there and they say, I want a pear shape, but I want it to be this big. What kind of color and clarity range are we going to be in to make that happen?
Mhm.
And it turns into a conversation, and I can bring them like 4 or 5 options. Sometimes it's a little overwhelming. It might be best to start with 3. And
Wow.
then everybody wins in the end when you do something like that and kind of approach it from what they want.
I wonder what you would do with me because I'm the type that likes to exhaust all my options.
I sometimes think that's fun.
So, Georgia, how do you help your customers choose what to get?
Similarly, we start with their vision or their inspiration. They may be coming to me with an heirloom from the past, something that was passed on to them, and they would like to redesign it. Or they may have been inspired by an upcoming, maybe a 50th birthday or a special celebration, anniversary, a birth of a child, and they want to create something brand new. So that's where we begin. And then I go to the sketchboard, or sometimes I pull out some beautiful loose stones for inspiration, for color. We love color. And give them a few options. Share with them my envisioning of what they describe to me. And once they give me their feedback and we come to a piece that they feel is breathtaking, that they feel that they will treasure for their life and pass on, then we begin the process of making and crafting. And that's when I go to our workshops in the Diamond District in New York City primarily, and all the master craftsmen and craftswomen begin to create something that is really, it's amazing to watch it come to form from just a few lines on a sketch pad and some gemstones in hand to the actual piece. We'll go back and forth a couple of times. I'll share some information with them, maybe a few visuals, so that they feel like that we have a good understanding of where it's going. And then hopefully, and which most always happens, is they're beyond delighted and they're happy to share that with friends and family. And we love that, because that is sort of the stamp that we look to, that they are so overjoyed with the piece that they would like to share their creation.
I'm just thinking about generational differences and, putting the investment in jewelry. Have either of you noticed a difference in your clientele based on their generation?
Yeah, sometimes. I think a lot of the older generation, and sometimes a little bit of my own, they put an emphasis on natural diamonds, which is, of course, the direction that I will err in. But some of the younger generations, when they're looking for engagement rings, they're also looking for alternatives on top of a regular diamond. So they'll ask a lot of questions about synthetics often. So lab created diamonds, synthetic gemstones, and sometimes they also go for colored gemstones. And they also like the romanticized art of like a salt and pepper diamond or something that's usually considered lower value, but they like the artistic presentation of something like that. Have you noticed the same thing, Georgia?
So I've noticed a lot of our clientele are really dynamic women, our collectors especially, and they tend to defy the trends. So they really want something that's unique to their personality, that that can live on them at work, during play, on vacation, anywhere they go. And sometimes it's not defined by generation, but rather by type of woman. So I tend to work with a lot of women who are very set and grounded and appreciative of Earth's creations. Really, Earth's couture is what I call it. Sometimes nature's couture, whatever the Earth brings to us. So yeah, the colored diamonds. Sometimes we work with aquapraise, which is just this most beautiful. Just a little example, a little heart shape. It comes directly from a small mine in Africa. So they really want something that doesn't matter if right now a certain type of jewelry is trending, a certain shape of engagement ring. They want what they feel is representative of themselves.
I'm curious with the traditional diamond for engagement in that, would you say, Julia, that a lot of the, say, Gen Z and young millennials are not as concerned about getting a proper white diamond as an engagement ring and entertain the thought of doing something out of the ordinary with regard to color?
I think that seems to be the case. Sometimes it's a matter of budget. So a lot of people my age and younger are focusing on contributing their finances towards a house or a kid or a dog. And at least those are most of the stories that I've heard. So they come to an agreement where instead of spending $30,000 on a diamond engagement ring, they opt to put more towards a wedding and the life that they're building together, and going for an alternative sender stone, which, I mean, of course, I'm partial to diamonds. Sometimes I have to be a little bit oppositional when they're custom creating an engagement ring with me, because some clientele will want to go for like an opal, for example, and it's not as durable. So they're going to buy that engagement ring, set it with an opal, and it might not be able to withstand everyday life. And they'll have to replace the center stone after a while.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, to me, that's a real break from tradition.
It's really wild. It really is.
Now, is it a myth that when I was growing up, if someone had an engagement ring that included a sapphire or a ruby or alternate stone, it meant that it was their second marriage?
No, I mean, maybe that might have been a trend back in the day, because I think jewelry is a statement piece. So a lot of times it can send a message. So that's how people like to perceive certain things. But one of my very close friends actually recently got married as well, has an emerald, and she works in the district as well. Emeralds are also soft and not really recommended for everyday wear as an engagement ring, but since she's also a jeweler, she makes it work and she knows how to take care of it.
So she must have had her heart set on emerald.
It's her first marriage as well.
And if she was spending that
kind of course, she loves the green.
Yeah. So Georgia, do you want to add anything to this concept of the value, the generational value of diamonds?
So we have, particularly here in America, we have a very specific idea about an engagement ring, for example, that traditionally it is a diamond. And that's been something that's been around for a long time. We shouldn't forget, though, that in the past, and even in today, certain gemstones, rubies, emeralds, sometimes sapphires, they can be very exquisite and rare. So carat to carat, when you compare, you can find that a beautiful diamond compared to a super rare emerald can command a higher price point, or is treasured even more. In India and in other cultures, especially in the previous century and older times, rubies and colored gemstones were the stones that showed royalty, or they were the ones that were preferred by certain parts of society. So a diamond in this day and age can command monetary value, can offer a legacy piece, etc. But it's definitely smart to say that there are other gemstones as well that bring beauty to the picture in various ways.
Oh, thank you for that.
It's absolutely true. And one of my favorites is Padparadscha sapphire, which is like a pinky orange, very fiery color. Hopefully some of your viewers might Google it, because it's definitely worth a Google. It's a beautiful stone.
It is. It's a big here too.
It's stunning.
What did you
And
call
I've
that
only
again?
ever seen a Padparadscha sapphire. It's the name Padparadscha comes from some kind of flower, but pardon me because I don't remember what kind of flower it is. But that color is just so vivid and stunning in sapphires. And also Paraiba tourmaline can sometimes command a higher price than diamond. And that's my second favorite gemstone.
What color
It's a
is that
beautiful
one?
color. It's like a aqua, like the color of the Caribbean Ocean.
That sounds gorgeous.
Oh, so pretty.
Today, it doesn't need to be a diamond. Well, a lot of times we get creative and we work with diamonds alongside either a birthstone. This one is aquapraise. It's a recently discovered gemstone, I think 4 or 5 years now, and it's also January birthstone, so alongside garnet. So it's really wonderful to have options and to know that there are really, really wonderful gems of all colors and hues and shapes and sizes.
For all the people that they're for.
Yeah.
We all know and love the ritual behind marriage proposals, wedding bands, and other romantic occasions. Today, my guest is going to give us an inside scoop about how she created her own engagement ring. I mean, how do you tell your fiance to design your engagement ring when you're the expert in luxury jewelry production? So, did you intervene? What happened?
This is always such a funny story to tell. So when we decided that we were going to get engaged, he asked me to send him a Word document or like a lengthy email kind of explaining what I was looking for. There was a ring that went into auction maybe in 2008 or something like that, that I absolutely fell in love with. It was a vintage Art Deco piece. And the moment I saw that ring, I was like, this is it. This is what I want. I have to recreate it. So I sent him a million pictures of this ring. And I gave him the ranges of color and clarity, of course, the size that I was looking for, and a list of all my gemologist friends and their phone numbers. And he took that list and started running with it. And then one day he texted me and he was like, hey, so I'm having a little bit of a hiccup. I'm not able to find the shape and size that you want because it's not in the market right now. And I kind of put him on pause and I was like, don't worry, let me handle this. I'll step in, I'll find the stone, and then you can take off with the rest with my gemologist friend. And so I did. And I went and I shopped and I found a couple of stones. And I took him to go and look at them. And I was like, this is the one that I like, but here are the options. And you can weigh it out and tell me how you feel and what you would like to do. And we kind of went from there. We chose the stone, and then I was hands off. This is an Art Deco inspired piece. It has a very heavy color center. I think it was an M. I think it was an M color. And the side stones are baguettes. The center is an emerald cut, a square emerald cut, or an Asher. And it was set in platinum, but I'm a rose gold kind of girl. So I always knew that I wanted the ring to be more rose gold forward than platinum. But I love this piece. It's really like a work of art, this ring.
And what is M?
So on the color grading scale, they start at D, which is colorless, which is kind of funny because you think it would start at A, but it doesn't. It starts at D. And as you get closer from D, E, F, G, that's like colorless. And then H, I, J, K has a little bit of a tint to it. And then further down, it's more heavy and usually a yellow or a brown color. So you can even see from the picture here, hopefully, that it has a little bit of a yellow tint to it. So from D to M, that's where it is. It's an M.
Mm-hmm. Is this the same ring?
Yeah, so pretty. So that's the certificate for my center stone. I blocked out my GIA numbers, so I apologize if it looks a little messy. But here you can see that it's a 4.76 carat. It's a K color, so it's a little better than what it was in the original ring that I fell in love with. But it definitely still has a yellow tint in the center stone. And it's a VS2, which is the same as the original ring. And it's a good cut. So it could be, it's under excellent and very good, but there is no excellent cut for fancy shaped diamonds.
There is no
excellent cut. Excellent cut is for round brilliance only.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
So that's the picture of this stone when it was loose, when we went to go and see it. And my husband, my now husband, said that this was the one that he liked best. And thankfully it was the one that I liked the best as well.
Oh, yes. So what did you do for his wedding band?
That's actually a funny story. So he told me specifically he wanted a hammered band. And I was like, amazing. I love a hammered finish. That's so unique and like artistic. I love that vibe for you. And I show him a picture of the ring, and he had meant to say a satin finish. And it was like two completely different things.
Oh,
but once he saw the hammered band, he was like, oh, I like that so much more. Let's do that. And so now, thankfully, he has a gorgeous 6mm hammered finish band.
Beautiful. All gold, I'm guessing, I mean.
It's
gold.
Gorgeous. Yeah, he loves a yellow gold. I try to talk him into rose gold because I'm culty for rose gold everything.
So what is this picture of here?
So this was when we had that loose stone. We went to go visit it again because, you have to do multiple checks before you spend that kind of money. And we took it and we put it in a fox setting. So it's basically like a clip. You push it together and you can grip the stone. And then it's held in this plain ring mounting.
And that's
So
typical.
And that's what?
That's typical to use a faux setting to try out a ring?
Not typical, but for someone who's a little nitpicky like I am, it definitely helps.
But did it help that you're in the industry, or would you do that for a customer?
Of course, I do that for customers, mostly because it helps you get the image of how it looks on your hand. So if you look at the other two pictures previous, I have it sitting between my fingers. and it's not mounted on my
Right.
hand
Yes,
as if
that
it
I
had been
get.
made.
That I get. So now this is the final product. Is that right?
Yes, so this is the final ring. We decided to mount the center in a platinum head, and the sides were wrapped in rose gold, and the band itself is rose gold. My little sister took this picture at our engagement party with my crazy nails.
That is beautiful. What a beautiful description. The platinum and the rose gold. Beautiful.
Thanks.
And now, did his parents have anything to say about all this?
Of course, they love the ring and they're so excited for us. And I think they kind of laughed because it's a big size. But they think it's funny because it's what I do for a living. So they're like, of course she has to have it.
They get it. They get it. Did anyone ridicule you? Any friends or family
No,
members?
no, all my family members love it. And they all said the same thing. They're like, because that's what you do for a living. Because remember, in the beginning of the show, I'm talking about how I can toss around a 25-carat diamond. So something like this is like pretty normal for me to look at.
So Georgia, you got into the industry with a backstory of having given birth to your son just 13 years ago.
That's right. I had a 40-hour labor, which
Oh,
I didn't expect going in. And so it was really, it shook me in a couple of different ways. And I knew at that moment that I wanted to create something to pass on to him with his story, something that would sort of be a token of love and sentimentality. And I knew it had to be jewelry. I wasn't in the jewelry world at that time. I was actually a fashion editor and stylist for fashion publications such as Vogue, etc. And so I had the opportunity to photograph and style incredible fine jewelry, but I wasn't creating it. But I knew at that time that it had to be a piece of jewelry to pass on to him. I did find something very special. And then that really led me to the understanding of jewelry sort of lasts a lifetime. It tells stories. It is very personal and can be very emotional. And I began the journey of creating fine jewelry in that way.
what a beautiful, both of you have beautiful stories. Thank you so much for joining me today and for sharing these inside stories. Georgia, where can people find you and your business?
Thank you, Irene. Everyone can find us online. We are at georgiaalexandra.com and on Instagram and on Facebook. georgiaalexandra.love is our Instagram handle. And feel free to reach out to me. I'm the one that'll pick up the phone. I'm the one that'll respond to your email or direct message. And it's always a joy and pleasure to hear someone's story or their vision, see what they dream of creating. So
Yes, Julia, and thank you for sharing your beautiful story of your engagement ring. And you were just married this past summer, right?
2 months ago.
Wow.
congratulations.
Thanks.
So best wishes to each of you as you connect humans with the collaboration of earth-forming gems and creating jewelry. See you next time on Diamond Bridges. Tune into our monthly episodes and tune into your alerts to find out our new episode of Diamond Bridges on the first Monday of every month. Listen and watch Gemstones, the highlights of our show episodes. Follow us on Instagram, The Diamond Bridges Show. See you next time.